What is going on, college basketball fans? Today we got my winner and score predictions for some of the bigger games on Week 10 Saturday slate in college basketball. As always, we do these every single Friday, and if I don't make a prediction for a game that you are wanting a prediction for, comment that game down below in the comment section, and I will reply to it and let you know who I think is going to win. Down below in the comment section. So without further ado, make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new. Daily college basketball content here on the channel. You don't want to miss it. And yeah, guys, let's get it started. All right, game number one, we have an SEC matchup, and it is between the Kentucky Wildcats heading over to Rocky Top to face the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, this one wasn't that hard for me to pick the winner. It would be very surprising if Kentucky was able to turn up and be able to win this game. So I definitely think Tennessee is going to win this game. The Volunteers have had some really good defense just overall in general, but they've had really good defense against the bigs and the inside scoring against most teams. So I expect them to be able to slow down Oscar Tshiebwe, and Oscar Tshiebwe has really been almost all of Kentucky's offense the past few games, and they just coming off of a hard loss in Rupp Arena to South Carolina. I just don't see them being able to defeat Tennessee, and I think Tennessee actually might win by even more than what I have it predicted, but I decided to keep it a little bit close because I think that Kentucky can still put up some points, but I got Tennessee winning 78-64. Tennessee's playing like one of the best teams in college basketball right now, and Kentucky is just not looking good. So this one was a pretty easy one for me to pick here. I think Vescovi and Zakai Ziegler, they're going to have a day. Rocky Top, is going to be loud with Kentucky coming into town. I don't care how bad Kentucky is. Tennessee wants to beat them. So it's going to be a great atmosphere there on a Saturday. Give me Tennessee to win 78-64. All right, game number two. This is probably the matchup that I'm most looking forward to watching this Saturday, and that is between Kansas State and the TCU Horned Frogs. Both teams have been playing really good in league play. Kansas State is 4-0 in the Big 12. TCU is 2-2, but both of those losses coming in very close fashion, and they're coming off of a tough loss where they blew a 17-point lead against Texas on the road. So coming back home with a very hot Kansas State coming to town, I got them picking up the win, and I think this is going to be a shootout. Both Kansas State Big 12 games on the road have been very high-scoring games, and TCU has had some high-scoring games there with Baylor as well. So I think this game's probably going to be in the 80s. I could be wrong. It could be lower scoring because both these teams have played in lower scoring games as well. But I'm feeling the scoring in this one. We got Marquise Noel versus Mike Miles, two of the best point guards in the country, probably the two best point guards in the Big 12 in my personal opinion, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Mike Miles and Marquise Noel are going to be doing some scoring. I think Eddie Lampkin can have a big day against Kansas State's bigs, especially on the offensive glass and defensively. I think that is going to be a huge part of why I have TCU winning 86-85. I could see this game going to overtime. I could see this game, going down to the last possession and maybe even like a buzzer beater game winner fashion. Like, this is going to be hopefully an amazing game. I hope I'm not hyping it up and then it just doesn't turn out to be that great. But these two teams, the way they've been playing, I just feel like it's going to be a good one. It's never an easy game in the Big 12, especially when you got two of its best teams. So I got TCU winning a very close one at home and giving Kansas State their first loss in Big 12 play. All right, game number three. We got probably the best Big East matchup this Saturday. This is the only Big East matchup I'm going to be predicting here in this video. And we got the Providence Friars, heading over to Omaha to face the Creighton Blue Jays, and it's going to be a pretty good game. Creighton, although they've still been losing some, they just had a close one on the road at Xavier where they almost were able to pull that one out. They were in the lead for most of that game. I think they need a bounce back game. Providence, a lot like Kansas State, are a surprise team in their league, undefeated in Big East play. Are they going to be able to go on the road here and travel against a very talented Creighton team? Creighton needs this win. They need a big win in the Big East. They haven't beaten any of the top Big East teams yet so far this year, so they need a big win if they're wanting to make the NCAA tournament. I think they need this win at home. because it's going to be tough to return the favor there in the Amps. So I got Creighton winning this one 82-77. The key matchup in this one are Arthur Kaluma and Bryce Hopkins. They're at the power forward positions. I think that is the key matchup. It's going to be a really fun one to watch as well, because Arthur Kaluma can score as well. We all know what Bryce Hopkins is capable of. Baylor Shireman just had a really big game against Xavier. I think he stays hot and helps Creighton win this one. I also think Ryan Cockbrenner down low, he could have a 18-10 type of game here. And I have the Blue Jays winning 82-77, pulling away in the end. All right, game number 4, we got our second and our last Big 12 game that we're going to be predicting here today. Y'all know that I'm a fan of a team in the Big 12. I love Big 12 basketball, and this is going to be a good one. Iowa State, another team undefeated in their league, 4-0 in the Big 12. Not an easy task to do, but every time, both road games that Iowa State has had in league play have been super close. They were able to pull them out, and I think this one is no differently because Kansas at home in Big 12 play, they're also undefeated in league play. They're at 4-0. They have also been playing some close games in Allen Fieldhouse against Oklahoma State, against Oklahoma. So I mean, this is going to be the toughest team that they've played at home so far in the Big 12. So can Iowa State pull it off? I think Iowa State probably could pull this one off, but Allen Fieldhouse, one of the hardest places to play. Like I said, Kansas has actually been playing closer games at home than they have been on the road. So I expect this one to be pretty close. But I think Kansas will pull this one out in the end. I'm going to go 72-69. Big game from Jalen Wilson in this one. I think KJ Adams has been stepping up. He could be huge in this game as well. I think the 4-guard lineup of Iowa State that they kind of discovered last game against Texas Tech, where they blew them out, could be very deadly and a lot of scoring. But can that shooting travel on the road to a very tough environment? I think it will a little bit, but I don't think that they're going to be able to light it up like they did in that Texas Tech game. And also Daquan Harris Jr., another super good point guard there in the Big 12. He's going to be facilitating. He's going to be playing really good defense, so that takes away a little bit of those guards scoring there for the Cyclones as well. I got Kansas winning this one 72-69. Next game, we got a couple of ACC matchups here, and our first one is the Duke Blue Devils traveling over to South Carolina to face Clemson Tigers, and I actually got this one going to overtime, and I have Clemson winning it in OT. I think that this one is going to be an amazing matchup. You got Kyle Flabowski on one side, you got Hunter Tyson on the other side. I think that they could have, a heat check or two coming throughout this game, and it could be a lot of fun, especially if it happens like down the last 2 minutes of this game. Whew, that's going to be fun. I got this one going to OT. I just feel like Duke is struggling a lot to find some road wins, right? They lost really bad to NC State on the road. They lost to Wake Forest on the road, and they barely escaped Boston College on the road as well. So going back on the road in the ACC, Clemson is a really good team this year, surprisingly, and they're in my top 35 this week. They're in the bracketology predictions now. I think Clemson fans are getting a little bit hyped up. They're going to show up for this game, especially with Duke coming to town. The name Duke means something, and you want your team to beat Duke no matter how good or bad they are, and Duke still a pretty good team this season. So I think the atmosphere is going to be amazing for this game, and I have the Tigers winning 88-83. Hunter Tyson take over in overtime, but Duke, you could say, well, Clemson might win by more than that. It might not even go to OT. I'd say not so fast, because Duke, they did show in their last game there against Pitt. I know it was at home, but a pretty good Pitt team without Jeremy Roach, because he got hurt there in the Boston College game. They played a little bit better, considering they didn't have their leader on that team. They came back and won against Pitt in comeback fashion. I think they're starting to mesh a little bit better there without their leader, and that is going to help them, at least play this one close here on the road. So, like I said, I got Clemson winning this one in OT. Game number 6, we got 2 more games to predict here, and this is our second of 2 ACC matchups, and we got the Miami Hurricanes going on the road to Raleigh to face a very hot NC State team. And Miami, you know, they had a tough road loss here recently as well in the ACC. They lost to Georgia Tech on the road, so that one could play a factor, but they also went on the road at Notre Dame and won. So I do think NC State, they should have a good amount of fans showing up after their blowout against Duke. They're starting to get a little bit hot now. They got Traquavion Smith there at guard. They got Jarkel Joyner as well. That backcourt duo is very deadly, but Miami has a very good backcourt duo as well in Nigel Pack and Isaiah Wong. They also got Jordan Miller and Norchad Omier, so I think Miami has the better team overall in this one, and I think I'm going to trust Miami to get it done here on the road. And if they don't get it done on the road, then I might not be able to trust them again against any decent team on the road. So I'm going to take Miami to win 76-71. Sometimes the better team just wins. You know, not a lot of the times in college basketball or any sport does the best team win, but I think in this situation, Miami's the better team. They pull it off and win by 5, 76-71 in Raleigh. In Game 7, last prediction of this week's Saturday slate, we got the New Mexico Lobos traveling to San Diego to face the San Diego State Aztecs. Now, this is going to be an amazing game, one of the best mid-major games all season. The Mountain West is looking really good. The Mountain West might be the 7th or the 8th best conference in college basketball. Let me know. They're up there for sure. They got a lot of good teams this year, but New Mexico, they took a couple of L's recently. They lost to UNLV at home, Fresno on the road. So getting into Mountain West play, they've started to struggle a little bit. So I don't want to say New Mexico are frauds because they're still a really good team, but I think that what I'm trying to say is there's levels to this, and San Diego State is just a level above New Mexico, in my opinion, as far as mid-majors go. And I still think New Mexico, they can play really good, get a bid to the tournament, because the Mountain West is going to be a multiple bid league this season for sure. But I think San Diego State is just better. I really like their guards that they have there. They're very good at defense. I'm a huge fan of Matt Bradley, one of my favorite mid-major players in college basketball, and I could see this one being close and close all the way down to the wire. 76-70 is what I have San Diego State winning. If New Mexico wins this one on the road, I will admit that I'm wrong when I say there's levels to this, and I will give them a ton of credit for it, but I got the Aztecs winning this one. So that is going to do it for this week's Saturday slate predictions. Like I said, if you guys have a game this Saturday that I didn't predict in this video and you guys want to know my opinions on who I think is going to win, comment that down below and I will be sure to reply to it and let you know my predictions. So we do these every single week. We do daily college basketball content. We got podcasts dropping every Thursday, college basketball podcast. We got our power rankings dropping every Monday. Bunch of college basketball content on the channel. So if you guys are new, make sure you guys subscribe. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching.